and potatoes.
There we go. We got the meat and potatoes.
You know.
All right, here we go.
Now is that what I think it is on your hat?
Hold on. What is that? What is that?
It looks like a seesaw.
Yeah. So this
A
is
teeter-totter.
So this is my logo. 4 Feet Off the Ground Productions. I'm a film writer and director also. So I make a lot of powerful films. I got a film about bullying. It's titled Abita, and I'm just like you. I'm trying to, make changes in the world through my art. So God has blessed me with the music talent and the film talent. So anything I make, I try to put out to the world. Let's say.
So are you trying to tell me that you and I are going to do a rap song or some kind of song together? Because I've never done a rap song my entire life. So
we're gonna do this. I'm gonna put you in the studio. I'm gonna be your ghostwriter.
Can you help me out with it? Because I'm like, I don't know if I've got the rhythm, you know what I mean, for doing rap. I don't know.
I'll be like, look, he very wise. I'm talking to scary guy.
Well, that's all right. I can do that, but I don't want to talk to myself, so it wouldn't make sense.
I'll be like, that's true. I'm talking to the man with tattoos. I'm tapping. All right, scary guy. We about to get into this. Hold on, let me go. Okay, how y'all doing today? I am your favorite rapper, the best film writer and director, St. Louis Facts, award-winning published author, activist, journalist, actor, business owner, Lacey G. Souldier Turner. And today we got a special guest. He's a podcaster, write classical music, a modern day philosopher. He's an artist, a singer, entertainer, and a performer. Comedian, was a baby portrait photographer, computer salesman, tattoo artist, owning 3 tattoo shops, worked with over 7 billion people. He done did more than me. Look at this. I can go on and on, man. We got Scary Guy on the platform. Welcome, Scary Guy.
Lacey, could you just keep reading? Because that sounds really cool, dude. Listen, I've never had anybody ever introduce me with all the things that I actually do in my life, and you're the first one to do that. So I have to say thank you. If I had a hat on, I'd take my hat off to you, buddy. That's pretty cool.
You are most welcome. See, I'm one of a kind, Scary Guy, one of a kind. So can you tell the audience about your upbringing as a child?
Oh, no way. They want to know about my upbringing. Oh, my God. Well,
yeah.
I have to tell you, that was a long time ago, so I'm going to have to dig deep into the memory bank of a tattooed head. This is going to be weird, man. How old am I, first of all? How old do you think I am by looking at me? Are we on video or are we just on audio?
We on video. So with the beard, I'm going to say about 25.
Nice. Yeah, that's the way to go.
I'm gonna say probably like maybe 55.
Well, you're 13 years younger than I really am. I'm 68 this year, and I'll be 69 at the end of the year. Believe it or not, I don't have any wrinkles though.
Or there you go. Looking good.
And I got good makeup. I grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Do you believe this? Actually, a little town called New Hope, Minnesota. New Hope, this northern suburb of Minneapolis. And I went to a high school called Cooper High School, Cooper Senior High School. And believe it or not, they're having their 50th anniversary. No, 50th class year reunion.
Wow.
50 years. Can you believe that? 50. How old are you?
I am 18. Now I'm 42 years. I'm 42 years old. 42.
Well, believe that this is incredible because my 50th school, what's it called?
Hold on, wait a minute.
Graduation. 50 years ago, I graduated. Anyway, they're having it this year in Minneapolis, Minnesota. which I'm not going to go to because I'm in the United Kingdom. So, and I don't know that I want to see all those people again, you know, because I don't hardly remember them all anyway. So it doesn't make much difference. But anyway, I was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota in 1953. Can you believe that? I'm a baby boomer.
Is it cold in Minnesota like they said it?
It is absolutely frigid cold 6 months out of the year. Don't go there. I tell everybody that. You can go in the summer, but the hard part about going in the summertime is the mosquitoes are as big as sparrows. So when they land on you, you can hear them like a helicopter, and then when if they get you secretly and you don't know it, man, I'm telling you, that bump from the bite, and they suck some blood out of you. It's not
like, give me this blood. I need to be warm.
No, it's not cool, dude. It's like going to the hospital giving blood. But anyway, that's where I grew up, and I was in the choir, and I was in the madrigals, and I was in the barbershop quartet, and I did a lot of singing back then, and then and then I went to McAllister College, and I was a vocal performance major. For 1 year I lasted. That's it. The reason I could only make it for 1 year is because financially I had to pay for my own college. And my mother at that time, and I don't know why she did this, but she said I had to start paying rent at home. And I'm going, Ma, and what?
Teach you how to be an adult.
He can't do this to me. I'm 18. She says, that's why you're doing it. You're paying me rent. And I'm going, but I'm trying to buy, I'm trying to pay for my own college. McAllister's not cheap. And so McAllister, that was it. I gave up on that because I couldn't afford all of that. And I got married at 19 years old, dude. Can you believe that?
Wow, 19.
Yeah. Are you married?
No, I'm not married. I do have a girlfriend, but I'm not married.
Well, I shouldn't say that then, because she'll probably wonder why you're not married. You know what I mean? Yeah, because whenever I open my mouth, the other half always gets a little excited about the idea that, maybe why doesn't he ask me to be married? Anyway, I got married at 19 years old to my high school sweetheart. And then we had, I think we had a kid. Yeah, we did.
You think?
I think I had a kid. I think I had a kid with her anyway. But I'm now, just to give you an example, I'm now on my fourth wife. What's that like? Can you believe that?
Fourth wife.
Bad, four wives. Bad, scary guy. Bad, scary guy. I wish I could blame every one of those women for the problems that our relationships had, but it's really a two-person gig, It's two people, and she had her faults, and I have my faults like crazy, and we just weren't right for each other. And the next one we weren't right for each other, and the next one we weren't right for each other. But this one, this one, I think we got it right. She's right for me, I'm right for her, and she's British. And maybe that's it. I don't know,
So I usually say 3 times the charm, but with you,
well, they say, we're two countries separated by a common language, America and United Kingdom. Yes. So, but I had to relearn the English language when I married Catherine, my current wife, because, oh my goodness sakes, I tell you, the differences in words and meanings is just massive. You know what I mean? I don't know if you know that. There's certain words you don't want to say over here in public that you can say in the United States. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know it. So it's certain. What are the words?
One
you get in
word
trouble on here?
One word, which I think is funny. Do you ever wear a fanny pack?
I don't, but I know people who do.
Yeah, and that's okay, isn't it? You can say, "Hey, where's my fanny pack?" Well, you don't want to say that in England, because the word fanny means female genitalia.
Wow, are you serious?
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Hey, and I've said, well, never.
That's what I'm talking about. So it's really certain things, and I made my first presentation in the United Kingdom, and my manager, Gary Lee, who's been with me for 25 years, he brought me over to the United Kingdom and he booked me for 2 weeks in high schools. And on my very first presentation in a British high school, I had 600 high school students in the room, and then 200 teachers and parents and police officers lining the outside perimeter of where the kids were sitting. And in my presentation, I would tell the news reporter, John, to get his butt down to my warehouse, because I lived in a warehouse in Tucson, Arizona, when I had my 3 tattoo shops. And so when I changed my name to this Gary guy and I started traveling, part of my story in my presentation was, hey, John, and I would say, Fanny, get your Fanny down here, take my picture and print my story, and you'll sell more newspapers you've ever sold in your lifetime. Well, when I said that out loud in Britain for my very first presentation in front of 600 high school students, they all busted out laughing out loud. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm a hit. Man, this is fantastic. They like me, man. And I noticed all the teachers, and all the adults around the perimeter of the room, they were all like this with their heads down, like, and I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe they don't think I'm that funny. Anyway, Gary, after the show, Gary pulls me aside and he says, Gary, what? Don't say that again. Don't say that word. I said, what word? He said, Fanny. I go, why? It means female genitalia. And I went, oh my God, that's why 600 high school students were laughing at me.
The teacher's head down. Like, oh my God.
Anyway.
But so you went from a cold place to the most hottest place. You just went in the middle. We're from Minnesota.
No, well, I ended up in the middle, but I like to say that I lived in the freezer for 39 years, and then I moved to the oven, and it took me 5 years to thaw out. 5 years to thaw out, and then 100 degrees on an average day in Tucson, Arizona. It's 100 degrees every day, 100, 105 every day. Summertime can make it up to about 117, but after a while, 5 years later, 100 degrees felt like 72 degrees in Minnesota, because they call them, what do they call them? Capillaries. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in Britain they call them capillaries.
Capillaries.
Yeah, and aluminum is aluminium.
Aluminium.
Oh, it's bad, man.
It's some of that aluminium foil.
Anyway,
the scary element that shit is. So what
it took
made
me 5 years to thaw out, brother? And so I'm like, wow. And then that's when I sold my tattoo shops, and I came to the realization of who I was as a human being. And that's when I changed my name, and I can tell you that story too. That's really it.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it. So what made you become a baby portrait photographer?
Oh my God. I couldn't even believe you brought that up.
Yes,
you're like I say, you're the first guy that I've ever been interviewed, with and talked to that did that much research and found out I was a baby portrait photographer for a company called Photo Corporation of America, PCA, back in the 70s.
Like a drug, PCA.
Yeah, it is. It was a drug too. Trust me, taking baby pictures. If you were on drugs, it was a lot better, but I wasn't. But I got to tell you, it was a real challenge because in America, I grew up with Walmarts and Shopko. Ever heard of Shopko?
I think I have.
Kresge store. Maybe that's before your time. I don't know. But anyway, all these Gibson, there's a Gibson stores out in rural America. Anyway, and Targets, we shot at Targets. So I worked from 1975 to 1980, I took baby pictures on the road.
He was a traveling baby photographer.
Yeah. 6 states was my territory. 6 states, Minnesota, North and South Dakota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. Those were was that 6? I don't know if it is, but anyway. Oh, and the upper peninsula of Michigan. So those were the 6 areas. And so I traveled for 5 years, and I was scheduled to take baby pictures in these stores, and you'd set up your portable camera and your backdrop, and dude, it was insanity. The mothers, because they ran a special 8x10 special for 88 cents, and the mothers would come down with their babies and they would line up the whole length of the store. Can you imagine crying, screaming, drooling, puking little babies want to get their picture? And the moms want to get their picture taken. So you had to learn how to deal with the mother as well as the baby to get the baby to pose, and then you had to get the baby to smile, and then you had to take the shot, and you had to do it 3 shots per kid. And then our company policy was you had to do a conversion. And what's a conversion? Well, a conversion is when you ask the mother to sit on the poser with the baby in her arms, so you get a mom and a baby picture, so the salesman could come back 3 weeks later and sell that picture too. See?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Arguments and fights because moms they didn't want to sit down, and it was just unbelievable. And, we took about 100 baby pictures a day.
I don't think I would have wanted to stay in that business. That sounds very difficult.
It is hard. It is hard. But the psychology of that, working with kids at that age, trying to get them to smile, I think was really instrumental in helping me learn how to deal with kids in school, because then as my life turned another page, I used all of those techniques in dealing with primary or elementary school kids that I work with on the bullying issue, the name calling and stuff. So that was really beneficial. Yeah.
So when did you get your first tattoo, and what was it?
Well, my first tattoo, everybody thinks I started getting tattooed like they do today. They start getting tattooed at 15, 16. They start sticking themselves with India ink and a needle in the back room somewhere, thinking that's hip, but I can tell you right now, it's dangerous. But anyway, I got my first tattoo at 30. 30 years old. I waited. I knew I was going to get one, but I wore a suit and tie, see, and I was in business for myself. I was in the baby business, and then I went from the baby business to the computer business. I sold the first Macintoshes after I left the PCA. So then I ended up in the computer industry, and I wore a suit and tie. So I never really got tattooed until I turned 30, and I started collecting my tattoos under my suit and tie, which is kind of cool because nobody knew I was tattooed at the time. And my first tattoo I got in Tucson, Arizona, where my brother was a policeman, and he was a policeman for 25 years. So I went down there with my motorcycle, and he had a motorcycle, on a vacation, and I didn't think I was going down there to get tattooed, but I was riding down the road one day, Grant Road, and I saw a tattoo shop, and my car just sucked right in there, and my door flew open, and I went and I got sucked into the tattoo shop, and I started looking at the walls, and I went, oh, there's a dragon. And I went, oh, that must mean strength. I didn't know what it meant, but it must mean strength. So I said, I told the tattoo artist, I want that dragon right here on my arm. That's what I want. He said, okay. So I tattooed one day. I went in on a Tuesday, I think, and he tattooed it. And then I looked in the mirror when I got home, and I said, oh, I'm a little out of balance, So the next day I went back to the tattoo shop, and I saw a tiger, and I said, I want that tiger on this arm. Now this is 2 days in a row, see? So, and then I went back home, you know, to where my brother lived, and because I'm on vacation, and then I looked in the mirror and I went, I kind of bare in this area. So the third day I went back to the tattoo shop and I had a big Black Panther put on my chest panel right here, see? And that was day 3. And then I went, then I went and looked in the mirror again the next day and I went, oh, I feel a little bit out of balance. So I said, I think I need something to counterbalance the one on the front. I need something on my back. So the 4th day I went down and had a bigger dragon put on my back. 4 tattoos.
I bet it was
in
like, he's
4
back
days.
again. He's back again.
Well, I can tell you right now, when I started getting tattooed, it was like a drug. It's just like a drug. I tell people that right off the bat when they say they want a tattoo and they don't have one. I said, well, you should be really worried about that. And they go, why? I said, because if you get tattooed, I said, the danger is you're going to look like me. And they go, what do you mean? I said, because it's addictive. It's an art form, and then you start feeling, you can feel your endorphins go, and it feels really good, and you get to express yourself artistically, and then you help design your own art, and then you really get into the art form, see, and then they go, oh yeah, sure, and then those same people come back 3-4 years later, and their arms and legs are all
You were
tattooed,
right.
and they go, look, I almost have as many tattoos as you. And I said, how many do you got? And they go, 7. I said, you got 6 more than me. They go, what do you mean? I said, I just got 1 from the top of my head to the top of my toe, baby.
So is that what made you become a tattoo artist and own 3 tattoo shops?
Yeah, well, I've always been an artist my whole life. Just never gave myself permission to say it when I was young. You know, baby pictures. And then I had my own camera, so I was taking black and white art photos of buildings and reflections, and I was putting them on, mounting them on masonite and selling them. But I never told anybody. You know, I just did it, art. You know, and then I would draw, and I was always drawing and stuff. And then I got into tattooing and hid my tattoos under my suit. And then I said, you know, I'm going to find a tattoo artist I really like. And I found Suzanne Fauser in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And I was working for Convergent Technologies, which became Unisys Corporation back then. And I wore a suit and tie, see, and I was in sales. So I never told anybody I was getting tattooed under my suit and tie. But how I would do that is I would buy a whole weekend from her. And I was in Minneapolis. So I had to book an airline ticket on a Friday night, fly there on Saturday morning, and I didn't rent any car because I had to be cool. I rented Lincoln. I'm all by myself and I'm renting a Lincoln Town car. Give me a break. It's just, you know, when you're that age and
Just wanted to be in style. That's
30, 31, 32 years old with a fancy suit and tie, and you're spending your money on tattoos and you're driving from Detroit to Lincoln. I mean, Ann Arbor, you're going to get a Lincoln. That's just how it is. You know, I didn't have to, but I did anyway. And anyway, I bought 2 days. I bought the whole weekend, and I go see Suzanne, and little did she know, and she freehanded my whole left-hand side of my body as I spoke to her. She would tattoo, we would talk and tell stories. And one of my tattoos is a big eyeball on the inside of my arm, and it had tears. And I said, every teardrop has a story to tell. She goes, ooh, and she drew that with instead of tears, it was pieces of paper falling down my arm. See, so you could fill that in, you know, with little stories as you go and throughout your life. And I'm going, oh, that's cool. So she didn't know it, but I was observing and watching and asking her questions about the tattoo art form. See, so I spent maybe a year doing that with her, getting my body tattooed, and I was learning how to tattoo at the same time. So she's kind of instrumental in teaching me how to tattoo. And then when I lost my last job and I was laid off from Western Digital in the computer world, I just said, I'm throwing it all in. I'm going for it. I'm going to learn how to tattoo and become a tattoo artist. And that's when I moved down to Tucson, Arizona after my mom died when I was 39 years old. That's how I got there. My mom died. I said, that's it. I'm done. I'm stop wearing a suit and tie. I'm never wearing another suit and tie. And you know how I sealed my fate? I tattooed my neck. I tattooed my neck
Said it's
above
over
my
after that.
collar line. Yeah.
Like,
And then
no,
a friend
no
of
more
mine,
corporate jobs.
no, and a friend of mine he worked for Digital Computer Company, and he was a regional manager for Digital, and I knew him. Phil is his name, and we were good friends. He called me on the phone after I tattooed my neck. He didn't know it. He says, I got a job for you. You're going to make $250,000 a year with all expenses paid, selling this mini systems for Digital. I said, Phil, I can't work for you. He says, why? I said, I tattooed my neck. Oh, you fool. You absolute fool. He was so irate because I was really good at selling, see. And so I killed my, it's like taking a gun and shooting yourself. Yeah, right in the foot, it's like anyway, that's what happened. And I went down there and I opened up one tattoo shop. And I sat in my first tattoo shop for 2 weeks with my friend, John and I. We opened the shop up on Grant Road. And I'm not kidding you. For 14 days, we sat on the sofa and stared at the walls. Nobody came in our shop. No, well, nobody knew us. Nobody knew who we were. We, in the tattoo world, people either know you or they don't, and if they don't know you, why would they go there? There's only 14 other tattoo shops, so we sat there for 2 weeks looking at the walls thinking, oh, well, we're not going to make it. We're just not going to make it. And all of a sudden, our first customer came in and we tattooed them. The second one came in. Pretty soon, I'm not lying, within 6 months, we were doing 10, 15, 20 tattoos each a day.
Word of
They
mouth.
they were little tattoos. They were little tiny tattoos, but we were busy like crazy, man. We were just busy. So I thought, oh, this is going to work out pretty good. So I opened a second shop and I hired some more tattoo artists. Then I opened a third shop and I moved myself down by the bar where the third shop was, the Chicago bar it was called. So when I was done tattooing, I could go over to listen to the blues and have a couple drinks and relax, ride my Harley Davidson to work the next day, run my mouth, call people names, crack my jokes. If you didn't laugh at my jokes, then you were an idiot and I was still a good guy. Well, that's how I run my life, dude. And
laugh at my jokes.
Yeah, that's right. So that's how I got there, and that's what I did. And
so what made you legally change your name to Scary Guy?
The Scary Guy. It's on 2 passports. Believe it or not, it's on a U.S. passport and it's on a British passport.
So I know when they look at it, they be like,
well, the custom agents in all these different lands and countries, they try to hold a straight face. They don't well, they don't like to show their there couldn't be anything funny. They don't dare laugh, because then that shows that maybe they don't mean business.
Yes.
So what happened was in 1996, someone in the competitive tattoo business, and I never met the guy, never met him. He's dead now, though. I know that somebody told me he died. He died of diabetes. Anyway, he ran a full page ad in the newspaper in Tucson, Arizona on the back of the paper. And it said, are you tired of dealing with scary guys with war paint facial tattoos? Well, I was the only guy with tattoos on my face. So it was about me, and everybody took the paper and they showed me this paper. And then they said, what do you think of that? What are you going to do about that? And I said, well, I'm going to get in my Lincoln. I'm going to find out where he lives. I'm going to go over to his house and I'm going to run over his dog. That's what I said. Because the first thought that came to my mind was, what am I going to do to get him back? Revenge, And I thought, well, if that's not a bad enough punishment, I'll just take my baseball bat over there and whack off his kneecaps. And then I thought, well, that's how I thought back then, you know. You got to get even, you know what I mean? That's how people think. And I thought, no, what I'll do is I'll get real sassy and smart and I'll run a negative ad about him. But that's where it stopped, because what I learned in the computer business is you never talk negative about your competition to the people that are looking to buy something from you. So I had a hard time getting past the idea of being negative with the guy in a paper. See, even though I thought about running over his dog, I didn't do that. So here's what I did. I stepped up on my pedestal and I started bragging and gloating about how great I was as a human being. And then my life started to flash in front of me. And I realized I was a name caller, a hater, and I could stereotype and categorize people at will. And I used humor and sarcasm and I masked it all and made it look good. So I could make fun of you. You could be my friend. And as long as you're laughing with me, you know what I mean? I could be negative, call you know what I mean? People do it all the time at parties, man.
Yes.
You know, and this was my life. This is how I live. I just didn't run a negative newspaper ad. I just ran my mouth all the time. I was no different than that guy. So with that realization, I jumped down off my pedestal. I was motivated out of anger now because I was starting to look at myself. And I told all my friends, I said, I'm packing my bags. And they said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to travel the world to help people see each other differently from the inside out. And they said, how are you going to do that? And I said, I haven't got a clue. I don't know what I'm going to do. I could tell you one thing, though. I just wasted 43 years of my life running my mouth, calling myself a good guy, living a lie. And they went, oh, my God. I said, yeah, I'm living a lie. So I pretty much woke up from the guy woke me up by running the ad. So that's how I became. So what I did was, along with many other things, I took the name on because that's what he gave me, and it represents my 43 years. And I said, I took out a newspaper ad and I said, the tattoo shop, home of the scary guy, and I put my face right in the middle. So I took the negative name that he gave me and he labeled me with, and I put it on a paper, accepted it as me, I put my face with it, and for 2 years I ran the same ad. So everybody knew me as the scary guy. You know, 2 years later they're going, hey, Scary, how you doing? You know, it was a brand. So I asked my friend, I asked my friend Joe, and Joe didn't have a last name. It was just Joe. And I said, Joe, how did you just become Joe? He says, I went down to the courthouse and filed for a name change. I says, you're kidding me. You can do that? He says, yeah. He said, what's it cost? He says, it costs $105. I says, no way. So I said, I'm going to change my name to the Scary Guy because everybody knows me as Scary. And that's what I use in my marketing and stuff. And he says, yeah. So I didn't think anything of it. I went down, filed for a name change. It's amazing. Anyway, I didn't have any clue what was going to happen, but they published these things in the newspaper that this guy's going to. Well, the news got a hold of it. The Associated Press, all the national news. This guy's changing his name to the Scary Guy. And back in 1998, that was a big thing. You know, today it's no big deal. Yeah, no. Looking like me is nothing anymore. You know, I used to walk down the sidewalks in Kansas City and in Tucson looking like this. Guess what people would do? What? Go to the other side of the street. Now I walk down the side. It's the truth. Now I walk down the sidewalk and they walk up to me and go, oh, dude, cool tattoos. Can I get your autograph? I'm going, I got to change my name to the loving cool guy. You know? It's just, it doesn't even have any more negative power anymore. I'm going,
you see how life changed around?
Anyway, that's what film and television has done with the tattoos, you know, because everybody got them, and now everybody says it's okay, you know.
So I heard there was a ban. You was banned from a couple of cities and restaurants. Is that true? Is that true?
Oh yeah, I was banned. I've been banned in 2 restaurants in the United Kingdom, and I've been banned in 1 city in Kansas. Yeah. Yeah, I was booked into a high school in a small town in Kansas, and
Why did they ban you?
because of the way I look, they
Ooh,
didn't
that
think
is
they didn't
crazy.
think I should be talking to high school students. And this is after I'd been on the road and I sold my tattoo shops for a while, so I'd had a little history under my belt of working with high schools. But anyway, this high school, I don't know if you know Kansas City, Missouri at all.
Of course, yes. I've been there a
Right.
couple times.
Yeah, well, there's a radio show called the Johnny Dare Radio Show in Kansas City. It's a morning show. It's #1. It's been #1 for a long time. But anyway, he had me on his show and found out I was banned in this little town in Kansas. And what they did is they threatened the principal of the school.
Mm.
They said, if you bring this guy in, you're going to lose your job.
Wow.
That's what they did. Yeah. Yeah, they threatened the principal. So the principal called me on the phone and said, hey, Scary, you know, this is what's going on. I said, well, you can't lose your job, dude. That's not going to work. I'm just not going to work up there. It's just not going to work. Well, Johnny Dare heard about this, and he's a biker, and he had like 4,500 bikers ready to rock and roll and go up into that town.
They
And
like,
I'm going, no, Johnny, you can't do that, dude.
We finna go on a warpath for you.
You can't do that, man. But he did call the banker up that threatened to cut off his funding to the school, and got him on the radio and called him out on it all. So it was really kind of intense.
Okay.
So anyway, I was banned from that city, and I was been banned from 2 restaurants. You know, they didn't seat me.
That's great.
Isn't it awesome?
So let me talk about this. So you say your mission is the total elimination of hate, violence, and prejudice worldwide through the teachings of love and acceptance of all people. Could you break that down and explain and elaborate more on that?
Well, back in the day when I came to the realization of who I was as a human being, I thought to myself, all right, I haven't been the best example of a man, really. I really have been running my mouth with negative stuff. Excuse me. I didn't use racist slurs, you know, like the N word. I never did that gig. I never did. Although I did know men, you know, white men that were that way. But I wasn't that way. I just thought that was really, really wrong. And if I went that far, I was really bad, you know. But the bad I was just as bad as if I were to be racist. You know what I mean? It was just, but I covered it up. I just accepted it. And I said, how am I going to make this shift? How am I going to go from that guy to somebody that's like, you know, loving and caring and going to eliminate hate, violence, and prejudice in the world? How am I going to do that? Well, I started looking around for a role model and to model myself after. And I thought, well, I'll just model myself after my father. Are you kidding me? My dad was a product of World War II. He was a Navy man in World War II. And my dad's philosophy with children was kids were to be seen, not heard. So can you imagine growing up around a dad that never talked to you? You know, I walked around on eggshells around my dad and just waiting for him to explode with anger.
Dad, shut up.
Yeah, it was just unbelievable. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to be able to model myself after my dad. In fact, probably already have, probably and didn't even know it, you know. So I looked at my mom and I went, I've never heard my mom say anything rotten about anyone. I've never heard her say anything negative about anyone her whole life. And I went, wow, I didn't realize that until this happened to me, see? And I went, how did she do that? And I thought, if she can do it, it can be done. So I put myself on a 7-day, 7-night challenge. Have you heard of that? The 7 days, 7 night challenge. Well, I'm
Yeah,
putting you and all your listeners on it right now. You ready? Here we go.
it's get it. Yeah, tune in.
Here we go. For 7 days and 7 nights, don't say one negative word about another human on the planet. And for 7 days and 7 nights, don't call another person a name other than their own. Now, I want 7 days and 7 nights in a row. So if you slip up on day 3, guess what?
You got to start back up.
That's right. You got to start on day 1. Now, I got teachers that, oh, I can do that challenge. They've been on the challenge for 10 years because they take it 7 days in a row. It's awesome, dude. And now I've been on the challenge for 26 years and I haven't slipped up verbally out loud, but I still have the stinking thinking. You with me? So every now and then somebody would cut me off in traffic and I'd want to push him in a ditch with my car. And I go, wait, slow down, Scary. What's going on with that energy? What are you doing with that? I'd have to use my self-talk to talk myself back down because I became the negative right away, see? So that's what I learned is I learned that I was being used by other people's words and actions full time. I was a reactionary, like a sore thumb when you hit your thumb with a hammer, and every time you touch it down, oh, geez, that hurt. That was me, see. But then I started to see it was everyone. It wasn't just me. Kids were killing each other in schools. I started seeing newspaper stories about suicides. I said, wow, the kids aren't doing this to each other. I said, I got to get out there and I got to show them that there's a different way to go about interacting with each other. And so I put myself on a 7 day, 7-night challenge. And the reason I chose 7 days is because I didn't know if I could do it. I wanted a way to quit, go back. But I found that once you realize that this is the way it is, once your eyes are really open and your ears, you really can't go back. It's really difficult for me to be purposefully cruel, purposefully rotten towards another human. Now, back in the day, I was that way, but I didn't see it as rotten or cruel. I saw it as they deserved it because they said it to me first. You see, mine was just as cruel, but mine was okay because they did it to me. Well, cruel is cruel and rotten is rotten, and it doesn't matter. Two don't make a wrong. Two wrongs don't make one right. That's just ridiculous. Two wrongs make more wrong, period.
Facts.
It just doubled. The wrong doubled. It didn't just, it wasn't just one wrong. Now the world's full of them. It's constancy. So people live in this reactionary state full time. And they're reacting to each other. And you can see it in news reports. You can see it on TV. You can see it in the films. You can watch people constantly reacting to each other. So I decided to come up with some theories and concepts to teach people how to respond rather than react. Responding is meaning that I have to now take a look at, just like the 7 day, 7-night challenge, everybody thinks it's about being good. Don't call anybody a name and don't say anything negative. That's about being good, see? No. I want to know, what are you doing with what you're hearing? That's the trick. What am I doing with what I'm hearing? Am I simply hearing someone say something to me that's rotten and horrific, taking it on, reformatting it, and running it back out my mouth and my own rotten? Or do I have the ability to hear them speak and not become what I've heard? Ooh, that's a really important question, see?
Yes.
So I figured out how to do that. I figured out how to walk through all the rotten and negative comments and the judgment and the horrific stuff I used to produce. Because look at me. You think I get it? Yeah, I get it full time. And that's what's the irony of it all, is I didn't tattoo my face because I knew I was going to do this. No, I ended up looking like this and then realizing my life and what I was doing. So I was given, like you said, you've been given the gift to sing and rap and do the things you think from God. Well, this must have been something from God, because quite frankly, I don't think I could have planned it like this and pulled it off. See? So now I get all the judgment. Now I get all the name calling. Now I get all the prejudice. Now I get, now I'm walking in the minority's shoes every day. Every day of my life, I get it. Every day of my life, I get it online. I get it. People see me and they're shaking their heads automatically. You wouldn't believe how they treat me on an airline. They don't know me, if they do know me, then it's a different story. So that's what I was given. And then I was given the ability to figure out how to deal with that with love, not turn it around and use my anger and hate like I used to. And I was using my anger and hate, and I never had the tattoos. That's what's funny. So now I look like this and get the anger and hate, and now I don't put it back out.
Right.
So there's a lesson everywhere I go. The streets to me are the real places to work. Walking down the streets, walking through the malls, walking through the stores, walking to your friends. It doesn't matter. That's where the work is. Well, I had one group of high school students in a school in America, and he raised his hand and asked me a question at the end of my training. He says, "A scary guy, are you religious?" I go, "Well, would you love me if I said I wasn't?" That was my answer. And then he says, "Do you go to church?" I go, "Well, yeah, but my church is in my shoes." And they go, you should see the shocked look on all of their faces. There was 500 kids in an auditorium, and they were all 16, 17, 18 years old, 9, 10, and 11, year 11, and year 12, and I said, my shoes, my church is in my shoes. And I says, you guys go to church? I said, you go to church? He says, yeah, I go to church. How often? He says, on Sunday. I said, well, I go to church every day. I live in my church every day. And they go, well, what do you mean by that? I says, listen, I don't turn on the good one day a week and then come here and call your friends names and put down people and then go to church on the weekend and I'll try to absolve myself from it.
It's for forgiveness.
That's right. That's right. I says, I'm doing this every day of my life and I don't quit. I do it every day. I put it out every day. Every second of my life, every breath I take is to help another human being through that space. And it was dead silent in that room. They didn't know what to say.
You just like me, scary guy. I always telling people church is in my mind.
That's right. Well, and it ain't bricks, is it? It isn't a bricks and it isn't a building. It's in you. It's in you. Yes. You create your own world peace, and it's right there between your headphones. That's it.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay. So I know you spoke at schools, military forces, organizations. Which place would you say is your best place that you love speaking at?
Well, I don't know if it's my best. Excuse me. I don't know if it's my best place, but I can tell you one of my most interesting places. I got a lot of interesting places. I could tell you stories until you were 60. Because you're only what,
42.
Yeah. I could tell you 22 years worth of stories, but I'm gonna tell you one of the most interesting stories and one of the most interesting times in training that I've ever done was I was hired by the United States Air Force in Europe. And General Fogelsong, he was a 4-star general in charge of the Air Force in all of Europe. And I met General Fogelsong and I had dinner with him and his executive staff. And we had steak dinner behind closed doors somewhere in a very private area. And I worked with the troops. I trained the troops and some of his troops. I got to walk on the wing of an F-16 and everything else. It was really incredible. But anyway, after the dinner, he says to me, come on, scary guy. Now, he was like 72, 73 years old at the time. And he was told by the the higher ups, because the 4-star general is pretty high up in the political world too, and he was told by the higher ups to stop flying jets. But he didn't, because he says, as long as I qualify, I'm flying. He says, come on, scary guy. And he had a real gruff voice. He says, come on, let's go for a ride in my car. And I'm thinking, oh no, this could be the last ride I ever take. Because that's how it felt, the energy was just. So anyway, I got in this BMW on the passenger side front seat, and he got on the driver's side. And I said, wow, this is a massive BMW, dude. And he says, yeah, I don't know where they get these things. I give them to me and I just got to drive them. I don't know what it is. And I had no clue of what the model was, but it was the biggest BMW I've ever seen. He backs it up and we're on the base. We just got done with dinner on the base. And it's just him and I. Normally he's got a bodyguard with him because he's a 4-star general, say. He backs a BMW, puts it in gear, and he drives slowly out along the baseline there. And he takes a right-hand turn, and he drives out, and he stops, and he's got this great big black walkie-talkie with an antenna on it. I'm talking, it was a big square box. And he stops just short of the runway. And he's approaching the runway on the side of the runway, not on the end of the runway. And I'm going, what's he doing? What's he picks up the walkie-talkie, his tower. He's, yes, sir, General. I want you to close the runway for 30 minutes. I'm in a meeting. Yes, sir, General. This is Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany, dude. He closes the runway. In Ramstein Air Force Base, he drives the car out in the middle of the runway, stops the car, turns it off so we could have a conversation. I'm thinking, this is the last time I'm ever going to eat. I'm a dead man. He's going to kill me.
Oh my God.
Oh, this is the truth. And I'm going, he goes, scary guy. We are just alike. I'm going, we are, General? He goes, yep. We both have the same mission. We're both warriors. I'm going, okay. What do you mean, General? He says, my job is to take the bad guy off the planet. And I won't hesitate. That's it. Your job is to teach the little ones so they don't become the bad guy. And I'm going, whoa, wow, that is really like heavy duty. Like I got goosebumps when he in his car. I didn't tell him that because I didn't want him to think that I was like moved by what he just said. And then that's it. He calls the tower. He drives the car off the runway and leaves and parks. And I go my way and he goes his way. And I'm thinking to myself, why would he drive me out to the middle of the runway by himself to have a conversation in private with me? Do you know why?
Why?
Because he's in the press and in the media all the time. Not anymore. He's a retired general now. He's done. But there's no way he can be caught saying anything to a tattooed dude. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
That's why people used to tell me, oh, you're going to meet the Queen someday. They told me that because of the work you're doing in Britain. You're going to meet the Queen and you're going to be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. And I'm nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, but nobody ever knows that, see? And I never met the Queen. And they even said, you're going to meet the president someday. People would say that. And do you think I met the president? No. Do you think I was nominated, got the Nobel Peace Prize? No. Do you think I ever met the Queen? No. Why? Because they can't afford to be seen with me. Think about it. Think about it. What would happen to them if the press ever saw me standing with the Queen of England? Now she's dead, bless her soul. I mean, long live the Queen. She's gone. But can you imagine what the press would do to the queen?
Man,
Yeah.
tabloids.
Oh my God, it would be
TMZ.
horrific. The same thing with the president, and the same thing with, and that's why he did what he did in private with me. Same thing. Because that's how thick prejudice is. You've been talking to me, you know what prejudice is like. You lived it. You were born into it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You were born into it. You live it. Every day of your life, you see and feel it.
Of course.
You're a perfect soul to make and to do to get rid of the violence and the hate, because you know what that energy is like, and you know what it's like to deal with it every day.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for a lot of people that are in the minority ranges, they are reactionary too, and then they just turn into the negative as well. And that's the sad part about it all. See. But that's why I was never invited to any of these important places, and did that because the prejudice and the hate and the vile things and the negative would have just consumed the people that I was near.
Get them scary guy. They're gonna regret it.
Yeah. Well, it's all right. They still have a chance. I'm still here.
So,
I doubt it though.
Let me ask you this, scary guy, because you always in the school teaching and getting your mission across. What do you think is the cause of all these mass shootings that are happening, that's going on?
Well, that's a really good question. I think it's a culmination, and I tell you this: I've been studying humanity now for about 30 years, and what's funny about studying, oh my God, and I don't have a degree in it, man. I don't have a degree, but you know what happened is I got hired about 4 years ago to train 35 psychiatrists in Germany how to deal with a teenager that self-harms. They hired me on an all-day training session, 35 psychiatrists. Now there's some guts right there. There's some guts, because number one, I've never been to college, and I don't have a degree, and I'm not a medical guy. I don't know, but I do know how to work with teenagers that self-harm. I'm an expert in the field, see. So I think a lot of this stuff that's going on is, and it's going to continue. It's not going away. It's going to continue, because we're not dealing with real mental health issues on a real mental health level. The world isn't. And I'm talking about not just the United States. I'm talking about United Kingdom. The United Kingdom is maybe a little bit ahead of the United States when it comes to mental health as an issue. You know what I mean? But I don't think they're really doing it head on. They're making it easy for people with mental health issues to come forward. I think it's seen as a real negative thing. So then you get people that are borderline personality disorders, bipolar and psychotic, and and then they get frustrated, and of course they act out because of their mental health issues, because they're not treated, they're not acknowledged, or they're not listened to, or they're just neglected, or they're abused. So those are some of the real reasons, and we're not done seeing that happen, and I think we're going to see a lot more of it before it's over.
Again, sticking, like you said, with mental illness, bullying is a big thing that's been going on for years. As I was telling you before, I did a film, a beta, about bullying, and just recently in St. Louis, a young child was getting bullied at school, and she killed herself. And
Yeah.
For anybody that's listening right now who's getting bullied in school, what's some advice that you can give to them?
Well, the number one thing that I could give them advice wise, and I want you to really, really pay attention to these words, because this can actually save your life if you're a professional victim. And by the way, bullying, I tell people this in schools. I say there is no such thing as a bully, and people go, "What do you mean?" I said a bully has been created by being victimized. So I call them a professional victim. Isn't that interesting? It's a
Very
reverse.
Very
Yeah,
interesting.
it's the reverse of what everybody labels that individual. And I'm not trying to get them off the hook because the behavior is horrific. I'm trying to tell them that we got to relabel that person as a victim versus a bully. A victim that you and I both know is a victim of bullying, but that bully had to learn that somewhere. So that person was victimized or bullied. And then what they did is they rose up in some kind of a negative strength area, and then they just put that same energy back out on someone else. So they've been victimized. But what I'm going to tell you now is this: both the bully, quote unquote, or the professional victim, and the victims of those people, is that everything that comes from another human being, everything, all my words and all my actions are not yours. Now, what do I mean? If I call you a rotten word, who's that rotten word about? 99% of the people in your audience are going to say, well, it's about that. They're going to say it's about me. That's what they're going to say. They're going to own it. They're going to believe that I called them a name. So that's theirs to have. And I'm going to say, no, that's not true. Because where was my word created?
Within.
It was created in my mind. Right. So then what did I do with the word or the energy or the look or whatever that I wanted to? I created in my mind, and it came out of my mouth in the form of words, and that's called communication. So what kind of energy is that? For you to get, that's sound. Sound energy travels at 767 miles an hour, and it's invisible. Well, I can manipulate and control a lot of people with my words because they're going to believe them all, and that's why they're conditioned. So I create the energy and I put it out of my mouth. So who is it about then, really?
The person who said it.
It's about the guy creating the energy.
Yes.
Yeah. So if I call you fat and you're not fat, then they look at me and say, well, he's not fat. How can that be about him? It's not the actual word fat. It's his behavior, the negative behavior. It's about him. They go, oh, yeah. I said, yeah, that's what it's about. I said, but everything that you've heard and everything that you've seen your entire life that you didn't create doesn't belong to you. It never has. Ooh, that's a real mind bender, because you can go back in time and say, you mean when my dad did this and did my mom said that and my dad? Yeah, none of that was yours, even as a child. That was a reflection of your mother and a reflection of your father. And I go, wow. I say, yeah. Did they do it right? Sometimes. And did they do it wrong? Yeah, sometimes. There are no perfect parents. Trust me. They're learning how to be parents along the way, and they make mistakes. Yeah. And that's what we have to do. We have to understand all that energy. So based on that information alone, everything that you see and hear, you have to ask yourself the question, who is it really about? Where did it come from? Did I really hear it? And then start making some decisions. You have the power to choose. You sound like you're a religious individual, or you're a spiritual individual, at least. Am I right?
Yep.
Well, you believe in free will, don't you?
Of course.
Okay. Well, use it. That's what I tell them. Use your free will to make a choice, to understand that everything that comes out of a bully's mouth is a reflection of that individual, because they created it in their brain. Mm-hmm. Just because they said it to you doesn't mean it belongs to you. That's what the 7-day, 7-night challenge is about. And I can listen. I can listen to people call me all kinds of stuff all day long. I'll sit in a pit full of 100 people yelling and screaming negative at me all day. And guess what? I'm just as cool as a cucumber. Give me a gin and tonic, man, because I'm going to watch the show, and that's all them. No, really.
Great.
I'll walk right through that energy. None of that's mine. So now is the training a little more extensive than that to get to that place? Yeah, but that's the bottom line. And you can implement that strategy right now. You can get, if you're listening, you can get a hold of Lacey, and you can get a hold of the scary guy. And we're all out there. We're on social media. I'm on social media. You know, I got hundreds of thousands of people following me, and you know what? I respond to all my messages. So send me a message.
So yeah, I got the scary guy, and then I'm gonna legally change my name to the scary man. So let's get it. Scary man and the scary guy. But scary guy. So speaking of the 7 days and 7 nights, I did see that you had 7 days and 7 nights, an official biography of the scary guy book out also. What is that about in detail?
Well, the 7 Day, 7 Night book, which was written by Mark David Hatwood, is a film writer. He's written a couple feature films, but he was challenged because he had to spend 7 days and 7 nights on tour with me. And that's what the book's about. And it's really intense, man, because it really does. It's all the behind the scenes stuff and all the energy that is delivered by different people in different schools and teachers and the military, and you name it. Even in the film too, you know, that's really good too. The film is really, it ran in Europe. Yeah, have you seen it?
Yeah, I watched it. So I watched you in the warehouse and everything. The kids were saying, "Why are you walking slow?" You're like, "I'm not doing that on purpose. My ankles."
You remember that? See, that was the military guys. See,
yeah,
that was the United States Air Force right there. He had judged me the minute I walked in a room because I was limping, you know, and I was limping on my left foot because I had surgery on it, my ankle, and it was sore. And I said, "There you go." I said, "There's an example of you not knowing. And you didn't take the time to find out before you passed judgment on me, and you passed judgment that I was acting cool because I had a swagger." And I said, "No, I'm not acting cool. I'm in pain." And I said, "It's real pain, and it's from a surgery." And then I couldn't even have planned it like that. It was so perfect, you know.
Yes.
It was just perfect. And the guy, and I did it without trying. I don't want to humiliate the guy, and I don't want to put him in a negative place. I just want him to understand that what he did was judge me based on my movement. And I'm sure that happens to a lot of people all the time. It happened to me in a car park. We call it car parks in Britain instead of parking lot, you know. I had the surgery on my leg and my knee, and excuse me, on my ankle, and I had a handicap parking sticker for my car, and I parked it in a Target car parking lot in the handicap stall. And you should have seen the dirty looks I got when I got out.
Oh my gosh, look at him.
Well, it was 1986, you know. I had many surgeries on my leg. Now I got to have a knee replacement, but you know, they see me walking. I'm a young man, and they see me walking, and they don't know that underneath the skin there's an injury and there's something there, and that's why it's a temporary permit. It's not a permanent permit. But they gave me dirty looks, and they even reported me to the store. You know, it's like, wow. Don't you have something better to do? You know? How about if you just come over and talk to me? How about that one?
Get to know me. Yeah.
How about if you come over with kindness? Check that one out. And say, "Hey, dude, you know, what did you do to yourself where you injured yourself, you know, to get your handicap parking sticker?" And I could tell them. Nope. They right away assumed that I was scamming somebody, you know, that I'm a crook.
Crazy. People are so judgmental.
Okay.
So I see that you are building a new world-class headquarters in England, and you said it entail your world-class vision heart training. Heart training center. What is that?
Yeah, it's called Vision Heart, and it's one word, capital V, capital H, one word, Vision Heart. And then when I was working with kids and still working with kids, it's called Kids Vision Heart, because I
Okay.
believe kids with heart can change the world. But anyway, we're building it. We got a building here we bought, my wife and I, in near Manchester, England, in a town called Wigan. And it's got 4 floors on it, and we live on the top floor. And my mother-in-law lives on the first floor down below us. And we're taking care of her because she's 85 years old and she's got Parkinson's. And rather than her going to a home, which is not a comfortable place, we've built a really nice custom built floor for her to live on. It's her new home. So we go down and take care of her. And then on the ground floor is going to be an art gallery and our world-class training center. It's not done yet. It's under construction. But you know, if anybody hears the show and you're ever in my neighborhood, man, come on in and have a cup of coffee or tea with me, and we can rap. And you certainly are welcome, Lacey, anytime you want to
Yeah,
stop
I was going to tell you, go ahead and build another floor for me so I can come there and live with you when I'm in England.
by. You can come by.
But so tell me about your podcast that you do.
Well, we got a podcast. We had a radio show, and we moved to the radio eventually, you know, syndicated radio show. But Gary Lee is my producer and manager, and he's the one who was instrumental. And because he was a radio guy, and he was on the radio, then found out I changed my name to the Scary Guy, you know, 26 years ago. And when he read the newspaper in England, he said, "Who's this guy? This must be a joke, a scam. I'm going to get this
must
guy
be a
on."
joke.
Yeah. So he got me on and found out that I was the real deal. And he says, "Why haven't you worked in England, in Britain?" And I said, "Because nobody's inviting me. Nobody's ever invited me." And he said, "I'm inviting you." So he opened his big mouth, see. And I said, "Well, you know, for me to come, Gary, you got to put together a couple-week tour and some schools and whatever." Well, I didn't think anything of it. You know, I just thought it'd kind of go away. No, he booked it and he did it. And I got on a jet and I flew over to England, and he hasn't been able to get rid of me. And, you know, and that's what he likes to say. But he's instrumental in bringing me over here. And what was I going to say about that whole thing? What was your question
Your
again?
podcast. When we just start your podcast.
Oh yeah. Well, then we did a radio show, him and I, before the technology, you know, because now we have this technology. I mean, you're sitting in St. Louis, aren't you?
Yes. Yep.
And I'm sitting near Manchester, England, and we've had a flawless conversation the whole time. Well, it wasn't like that 10 years ago. You know, it was really difficult to have a show like we're having right now. So our radio show died out because we just couldn't, the technology wasn't there. So a year ago, he got a hold of me and he said, "Why don't we do a podcast? Because just do audio." And I said, "Oh, you sure?" He said, "Yeah." So lo and behold, he produces it, and it's the Scary Guy podcast, and we got to have you on it.
Yeah, definitely. I would love it.
It's a 60-minute show, but it's audio only. But then we do audiograms and videograms to market it across all the platforms. And our listening base has gone through the roof. I mean, we got a huge listening base all over the world, and and we got some really cool, interesting people. And we only have people on that are making a difference in the world to help people. I mean, that's it. I don't care if you're a celebrity or not. If you know, I do care if you're a celebrity. That's great. But no, you know what? But you're not going to come on my show just because you're a celebrity.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't. That's the part I don't care about. If you're a celebrity with a mission and you're really doing something to make a difference in people's lives, I want to talk to you. If you're a human being, you know what I mean, with a mission and you're making a difference in people's lives, and I don't care if it's just one person a day or if it's one a week, I want to talk to you. I want to know your story, and I want to know why. There. So our show has gone through the roof and it's ballistic, and we got to have you on. So Gary's going to send you an email and get some dates and get you booked, but it's an hour-long show.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Scary Guy, let me ask you this. On your journey in life of doing everything that you've been doing, what do you feel has been your greatest challenge?
Oh boy, my greatest challenge. And I have to say that it's not something that I've conquered. I think it's an ongoing challenge, and I work on it every day. And that's because I've had 43 years of training, and I think it's my quick to judge behavior, my quick to judge attitude, my quick to anger. You know, I get angry very quickly, I think. And I blow up in my body and my energy. And I think that's the part that is very difficult for me. And because I've learned how to be that way from my father, and I've learned how to be that way from other people and other men in my life. And I lived that way for 43 years before I made these changes. So it never leaves your brain. Then that people say the 7-day, 7-night challenge. What if I think negative? I said, that's okay. It's okay. You just can't let it come out of your mouth, and you got to figure out why it's there. So I'm constantly having to confront myself and deal with myself when it comes to judging people and being angry and flying off the handle. So I'm constantly working on it. It's really hard work.
And that's one thing I did this year. I made a vow on January the 1st to be in a state of peace of mind every single day. And I've been that way. No anger, no arguments, nothing. Like I don't let anyone get to me. I just be in a peace of mind. And I work at it every day. And it's like the greatest feeling in the universe. It just opens my mind up and let me just be able to do everything. So I love it.
Right on, brother. You're a cool dude.
Thank you. So what would you say has been your greatest accomplishment on this journey?
Well, I think my greatest accomplishment is living to 68.
I want to get there.
You know, in today's world, man, it's
Yes,
like
I
you
wanna
are
get
a
there.
target for, you never know when you turn the
Yes,
page. It's like,
yes.
wow. I see young people out there on the streets, running their mouth and throwing their garbage on open a wrapper and just toss it down on the ground, and no, and walking down the sidewalk 3 and 4 abreast, and they don't even move over for an older person.
It's crazy.
I'm going, you are not going to live to 68. I guarantee you. That's what I think in my mind. I don't say it out loud, but I say, with that behavior and that attitude, without any respect for other people around you, and consideration and kindness in your heart, and making time for other people, I said, your life's going to be short there. And I can't tell you when. I'm not the creator. I can't say how long it's going to be. It's karma, man. It will come back and it will bite you, period. I can tell you that much. But I can't tell you how and when.
Do you have anything coming up?
Events wise, yeah,
Yeah.
I've got a school that's booked me in October, 5 days, 1,200 high school kids, 140 teachers, and all their parents. And that's 5 days.
Wow.
And that's going to be incredible. I cannot wait.
Staying busy.
I can't wait to just stop them right in their tracks, give them a hardcore picture of what they've learned, and then show them another picture on the way so they can figure out how to get out of it with grace and understanding and love. That's what I'm going to do, and I just cannot wait. That's my next high school gig. I just can't wait.
Okay. So my last question that I love to ask all my guests: when it is all said and done and you are long gone from this earth, what is it that you want the people to know about the scary guy?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think I just want them to know that my time was here and it's your time. Just, you need to pay it forward, you know. And I get letters from kids. I call them kids. They're 25, 26 years old that saw my training program, you know, 15, 16, 18 years ago. And they're still writing me today. And they go, thank God, man, for your stuff. You know, you saved my life. It changed my life. And now I got a family and I'm teaching my kids. I'm going, that's my payday. And that's what I want to be remembered for. I don't, you know, I don't have millions and millions of dollars. I probably never will, you know what I mean? I'm not rich, but I think somehow I figured out how to be rich in my spirit and my heart. And that's what I want to be remembered for. That's it.
Nice. So let the people know where they can find you at or how they can get in contact with you.
Well, if you go to Facebook, there's only 8 pages about me. Well, there's more than 8. There's like 20 pages about the scary guy, but just key in the search bar, the scary guy in Facebook. And then you'll see the official fan page, which has got almost 85,000 people on it. And then the profile page, you can like that one. And then the profile page, invite me to be your friend, but Facebook put a 5,000 cap limit on that one, but you can still follow me there. And then there's my art page and just all kinds of pages on me in Facebook. So like them all and send me messages. And then Twitter the same way. And then Instagram's the same way. And then you could scary guy at thescaryguy.com. You could email me. You can always call me. Listen, I got my phone numbers posted everywhere. People go, you can't do that. I say, yes, I can. Why? I said, because I'm not a private guy. I'm public. I said, I made myself public a long time ago. I accept the responsibility for being public. I make myself available to people all the time. People call me all the time. People stop by here. I don't even hardly know them. They stop by my front door. I had one lady walk by. She doesn't work. She's got frazzled hair, an old coat. She walks up to the door. The door is open. She says, wow, this place is incredible. I said, well, come on in. Really? She said, come on in, have a seat. Really? I can do that? I said, sure. What's your name? She said, my name's Sue. She got a tear in her eye. She pulled a cigarette out. Can you mind if I said, no. I lit her cigarette for her, right in my own shop. She says, she got a tear in her eye. She says, what's wrong? Are you all right? She says, you're the first person that's really been kind to me in a long time. I says, you're kidding me. I said, well, you're welcome to come as long as my door's open. Anytime you want to come in here, you come on in anytime if I'm sitting in here, and we'll sit and have coffee and have a chat. And she was blown away. Absolutely blown away. That's my life. That's it. That's why my phone number is there. I'm available, people. You know, just reach out. And I don't have all the answers. I could tell you that right now. I don't have them all. But I might be able to get you to people that can help you out or whatever.
And I want to thank you, Scary Guy. It's funny, you know, I'm a person. I don't judge anyone. I'm never judged. So I was telling people that I was like, I'm finna interview, you know, this guy, the Scary Guy. Have you heard? Oh my God, he's a devil worshiper. Watch him. All, you know, I just was hearing all these things. And then I'm like, I watched this film, I'm like, no, he's very cool. He's great. He's amazing. So I just enjoyed our conversation. I love the work that you're doing in the community for the kids, for the adults. I love your personality. I love that you are, you know, trying to make a change in the world. And that's what I'm trying to do, you know. So I truly thank you for that. And we need more people like you for real.
Well, you're one of them, buddy. I can't wait. When I come back to America and do a little tour, you're going to be one of my stopping points. So
oh, yeah, we do, man. We got to work. We got to work.
Listen to this. Listen to this. You can take the devil. That's me. Down to the people that you claim that they say, oh, there's the devil. And I'll be more than happy to shake their hands and give them a hug.
Here's the devil worshiper. No.
Yeah. Awesome.
But now, thank you, man. I definitely love your person that we have to work together in some type of capacity, whether it's a film. I'm gonna write you a rap, not just playing, but I definitely want to work with
Well,
you.
let's do a film together, you and I.
Let's do it.
You know, let's figure it out.
Yes.
Even if it's a short, you know, like
Yeah.
15-20 minute short, you know,
Oh, yeah.
let's
Okay.
put something together and really, really bring it to the streets. And maybe that's what we do the man on the street
Mhm.
shots.
Yeah,
And we
sure.
interview people about negative and positive and
Mhm.
what are they doing to make a difference. And I'll be the host and you can film it. And then we'll get you to do that, you know, and we'll alternate or we'll do it together. You know, they'll
Oh,
say,
we gonna make some magic happen. And
yeah,
I'm gonna send you two of my films that I wrote, two of my short films I wrote and directed, so you can check it out too.
send them to me.
All right. Well, thank you.
Email me. Yeah. Email me the links or whatever.
I got you. All
Okay.
right. So thank you for your time, Scary Guy. I really enjoyed this interview. I know the listeners learned a lot about you. He's not a devil worshiper.
Yeah. Look out, rock and rollers.
But now, thank you. I appreciate your time, and I definitely will be in touch.
All right. Let's take it easy,
All
brother.
right. Have a good day.
Yeah.